So where are you staying?
I have an apartment. Joyce, yeah, I got an apartment for the whole thing. I'm here for the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I after I think Tuesday it gets easy for me, and I get to start watching movies all the time.
Right. Okay. So you've done the premiere. So I saw you at the
Yep,
premiere.
yep.
And
That was awesome.
And then you got a bit of press. You're doing some tomorrow as well.
Doing press today. I'm doing press today. I'm doing meetings tomorrow.
Okay. You got another project, or is it still sort of
Trying.
this one? All right. Okay.
Trying to get representation, trying to get other projects off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's tomorrow. And that was also like a couple days ago, but they're more interested now that the movie comes out, or they're less interested. They make their decision. They hadn't seen the movie yet, so now meetings got canceled and other meetings get made depending on what people thought of the movie.
Right. Okay.
Is,
You still got those meetings?
Yeah, it's like some canceled.
Oh, no,
So others added them. We got 2 or 3 that added that I really liked who they rep. So I was like, oh, cool. So. And the ones that canceled, I was like,
Yeah.
They were right to cancel.
But it could be a genre thing, though, couldn't it?
It could be anything. Yeah.
So.
I'm very sensitive to judgment, and I'll have to get over that.
Yeah.
But you just gotta be like, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it is people are gonna watch it and have an opinion.
Yeah, well, you put yourself out there. Aren't
You really, yeah.
My brother makes films, and it's just they go on for, it takes so long for these things to do. They're in development. It's like a stack of cards almost, isn't it? Trying to get these things made.
I tried to get one made before this in horror. I'm old, and it's been a while. But I decided to do horror about 7 years ago, and I tried to get one off the ground. And you figure you give it like 3 years, and then you got to move on. So that one went into the cupboard, and I started the next one.
Yeah.
And Transfiguration took about I'd say 4 to 5 years from writing to today. So yeah, they take a while.
So that was what you were referring to when you got on stage yesterday and said, it's been a hell of a journey getting here.
Absolutely, and also our shooting, our shooting style is crazy. We were in live locations. We had no small crew, no control. I wanted the actors to interact with real people. I didn't want that Hollywood extra feeling of the person that's sort of drinking their drink and sort of trying to hog the lens. I wanted just real people in the background, so that created a crazy set, especially in a lot of the locations. So that was part of what was crazy, and also just being a low budget movie, you just do a lot of crazy things happen.
Yeah. So have you always been a fan of horror? Is that something that
Absolutely. Since I'm Milo. I have a movie collection that I love. When I was clipping out Fangoria magazine and putting them up on my wall when I was 12 years old. I had a giant silver bullet poster because my brother worked for the MTA, and he would sneak me the horror movie posters. He would put up the posters and he'd sneak me one.
You sound just like my brother. He did exactly the same thing. Fangoria. There was posters like Driller Killer and all sorts of things on these.
Absolutely. So yeah, when I was that was the movies when I was a teenager. When I got out of college, I was trying to write more independent art films, and when I decided to try to write genre about 7 years ago, my love just came flooding back for these things, which I think is in the movie.
Yeah. Absolutely. So where would you say this one, what inspired this one from your previous films that you'd seen? Where have you drawn from?
Well, absolutely Martin, which is a George Romero film, which is definitely one that Milo also likes. My joke in my head was that I was making a film that Milo would like, as the character of Milo would like if he saw.
Yeah.
Martin was... I don't know. I think it's a more obscure George Romero movie, compared to Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead. And it approaches the vampire myth from a more realistic point of view.
Yeah.
So Martin is a huge influence. Let the Right One In. I just love. I don't know if it's an influence. It's sort of in the movie. Let the Right One In a way. Like it's in there totally. But it's also a movie that I adore. But the romantic and it's a good movie.
Yeah, me too. I love that film.
Heavenly Creatures. I like young, young love movies that are good, that fire correctly, I really like them. And yeah, Heavenly Creatures is another one, but that's not really that's not a vampire movie.
And it's a really lovely story. It's an interesting way of talking about how the boy is grieving, and it's just a nice marriage between his emotions and horror.
Yeah,
So,
that blend. That I try to do with everything else I'm writing. I'm trying to do that same kind of blend of taking a horror. Horror has this wonderful house they've built for you already, with the movies that have come before you, and the legends, and the different genres, and it's so wonderful to work within that house, and do your own take on it, do your own riff on it, fill it with your own stories, sort of. But you have a structure that exists of sort of other people's expectations and the things that came before you to work within.
Yeah, I understand, but I think what you do really well is the relationships between the characters, between the brothers, the two brothers.
Yeah.
I thought that was really lovely, and it's all really well played.
Thank you.
It's not overacted. So where did you find these guys?
Casting.
Very natural.
Casting. I at first thought I wanted to be Bresson. I love Pickpocket, and I thought I wanted to do all non-actors. Right. I'm very glad I did not do that. Yeah. I found Eric. I was looking for a Milo well before we were financed, because I knew this was going to be a really tough find, what I wanted. And I saw him on a TV show called The Good Wife. And Susan and I watched, my producer and partner and love, all that stuff, watched a lot of TV. That's how we unwind. And we saw him on the show, and we were like, oh wow. And then we had him read, and we were like, oh wow, we got that one.
It was a perfect fit.
Yeah, and we did a fundraising short, and to make some money and to raise money for it. And Chloe read for that, and she was perfect. And we ended up not using the Sophie character in the fundraising short. But then 2 years later, when we got the money, we decided, we went back to Chloe. So both of those people were involved very early on, which was great. It was great to know that we had the DP early on too, and the horror makeup guy, Brian Spears, who's great. It's great to know if you're a low budget movie, you don't want to be hiring these people in like a month, like with no time, or because So it was great to have these people really early on. The brother we found through normal casting auditions, like in that month, and it was a great find. I was so happy with him.
Yeah, it's really good. So it's so believable.
Yeah,
it's really sweet. So how long was this shoot?
I think it was 24 days. A little longer than an indie would normally be because of kid hours. He's in every scene, and you can't, those child labor laws. You can't work a child longer than, I believe it's 8 hours. I don't want to say anything wrong. It's an hour lunch and periods of rest and relaxation, but the total period has to be no longer than 9 hours. So our shoot days were much shorter than a normal movie's shoot days. So we shot longer than a really tiny movie normally would.
Yeah, okay. So, and is this your first time in Cannes?
Yes.
And how are you actually finding it? What's your impressions of the festival?
I've never been to a film festival before. Okay. I've never been out of America before. Right. I've never. There's so many nevers that are happening right now. It's probably. The fact that the first way I'm experiencing a film festival is to be a director at Cannes. I think everything is going to be a disappointment from here. This is it. This is how I'm starting out. It's all downhill. It's great. This is what I'm trying to say. It's been fantastic and amazing.
It's a good way to start. It could be just onwards and upwards.
Sure, I'm a bit of a pessimist, but I just mean that this is a really, really great experience, and it's overwhelming and chaotic and massive and exciting, and there's all these movies I want to see by all these directors that I look up to, that I idolize. So it's just an amazing experience for me coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so you start watching movies on Tuesday. You say, which ones are you going to go for? Which ones are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm actually making time to see the Jarmusch film, even though I have meetings. I'm like, no, I want to see that one.
Yeah.
Paul Verhoeven has one here later in the week. I'm going to go check out the. I'm very bad at memory. I think there's something called. Nicholas Ruffin has one that I'm definitely checking. Yeah. I'm probably gonna try to see The Nice Guys tonight, actually.
Right.
Just because, come on, like I want to wear a tuxedo and like
get to do the carpet.
I want to do the carpet with the tuxedo and like, and also I love Shane Black's last movie.
Right.
So I mean, so yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much. That was good.
Okay.
I got here Friday.
Friday. Where are we now? I've lost track of time.
Sunday?
Sunday. Yeah, seriously. It's one of those things. It's like 15 days long for us.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a marathon. And how long are you here for?
I'm here until tomorrow morning.
Okay. Oh, okay. So for flying.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the States.
Yeah.
And where are you from?
New York.
New York. Okay. How about you?
I got here on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I'm leaving tomorrow morning too.
Okay. So you're both your first Cannes Film Festival?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How are you finding the experience so far?
I love being here. It's beautiful here. Get to be around a lot of movies and a lot of directors, so it's a great experience.
Yeah, this is actually my first time out of the U.S., so it's pretty incredible to come to such a beautiful place and experience such a awesome festival.
What a great first trip.
Yeah.
South of France, beautiful, eh? Whereabouts are you from?
I'm from New York City too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you both get involved with the project? I was told that you've actually been on board for quite some time. Right.
It's funny. I didn't have anybody to try and introduce me to it. I just asked my mom, could I be on TV, and she talked to someone she knew, and I just went on audition.
Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was easy. And for you?
Yeah, I've been acting since I was really little.
Yeah.
This project actually auditioned when I was 16.
Yeah.
At the time they were making the short, which Sophie ended up not being a part of. And then I auditioned again when I was 18.
Yeah.
So, and then the chemistry readings and the whole thing that we went through was,
Yeah, and I think that's what really is the strength of the film is, the relationships that you two have, and also the one you have with each other. It's subtle, it's very realistic. How do you achieve that kind of realism in your acting?
I just had to try and put myself in his shoes, try to think what he would be thinking, and I just couldn't be me while we were doing the scenes. I had to be him.
What's your process?
Yeah, I kind of the same thing. Just really immerse myself in sort of the situation that Sophie finds herself and acted the way that, I sort of would in that circumstance.
Yeah. And are you a fan of horror?
Not particularly, no.
How about you? Were you a fan before you got involved in the project?
I watched the occasional scary movie.
Yeah, not like your character then.
No.
Who's obsessed, right? It's a really interesting story because it's a vampire story, but it actually transpires as not a vampire. How would you describe it?
Describe the character.
You describe the character first.
He's interesting. I think that mainly, everyone has their own issues, but his just pushed him to the point where maybe he lost touch with himself. But throughout the story, I think that he learns more about who he is, and that develops the plot eventually.
Yeah. And what's your character?
Sophie, for me, is sort of she finds herself in this really horrible situation. And I think she just really is trying to make the best out of it. And she sort of falls in love with Milo. And you see, for me, it's sort of you see this happiness and joy that Milo gives her, even though it's she's in this really perverse, horrible situation. So.
Sure. I mean, so you both, you say you've been into acting quite young. What sort of challenges do you face as a young actor?
Let's see. I guess the biggest challenge for me is it's really important for me to do characters justice and to portray them as honestly as I possibly can for the sake of the movie and for the sake of the character and for everyone who's involved. And so I guess that's the biggest challenge for me, is just understanding that weight and taking it, doing right with it.
Yeah. What would you say attracts you to a role? What sort of things you hoping to do?
Just based off how different the character is from me, I think that makes me like the role more.
Yeah. Is there anything that you aspire to do? You want to get maybe an action film or whatever?
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be good fun, wouldn't it? So I mean, that's quite interesting. What was it like to act out? 'Cause it's quite you do some pretty nasty stuff in this film. I mean, what was that like to act out?
It took a lot to get into character, but once I was there, it was pretty easy to do, because it wasn't, like I said before, it wasn't like Eric killing people and drinking their blood. It was Milo who was doing it.
Yeah. And those action sequences, the gore and all that kind of stuff. I suppose a lot of that's done after, isn't it? I mean, how does that work?
A lot of it was like the effects, but I was like, most of the time I was like drinking chocolate, not actual blood.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, nasty. That would probably make you feel a bit sick as well. Right, so you guys, how are you going to be spending the rest of the festival?
Enjoying cans, looking around, enjoying the views, maybe watch a movie or two.
Yeah. Is there any movies in particular that you want to see while you're here?
Yeah, I want to see American Honey. Sorry.
That's today, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we're seeing it tonight, so I'm really excited for that.
Have you might get the opportunity to go out the red carpet?
Yeah, I did the red carpet for Daniel Blake. I saw that too, which was...
It's a great film.
Yeah.
Right? What was that experience like going out the carpet?
It was pretty overwhelming. It's funny though, like, when there's so many cameras going off, you sort of are blinded, and then for the rest of the time that you're on the carpet, it's kind of like, oh, okay, like...
Completely surreal, right?
Yeah.
Well, brilliant. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your time here. Nice to meet you guys.
Well, they scratchy is but also scratching your name. You ever notice that there's scratches on the windows? I always thought it's parts. I don't know what the hell that is, but they kind of suck.
I think that it's such a big campaign now that those folks are going to fit that. Like every 2 days, they switch on. Like a lot of them are Japanese.
Accreditation, get into the protocol office, know what films you want to go see, and get them to issue movie tickets. They're really lovely. I learned this is before the camp, but it's my idea. Well, my mom just attended with our